JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. November 11th, 2024, about 9:08 on this fine Monday, Veterans Day. If you see a veteran, pat him on, pat him on the back, say thank you for your service. Some gave all gave some, right? So anyway, take a look at the markets. Futures are ramping higher again. You have S&P futures up about a third of a percent. Small caps rallying nearly up over 1%. And it's a holiday, so I wouldn't say it's a holiday, but federal offices are closed, and then the bond market is closed. So you really don't have much eyesight or line of sight into yields. But the U.S. dollar continues to rally, so that's something to watch. And the S&P is over 6,000. So we'll see if that holds this morning. Where the question is, how high is this rally going to go? Actually, we're at 599 here on the SPY, 599.90. Also over the weekend, right? So Tesla continuation up another 7% today. Cryptocurrency over the weekend over that 80,000 threshold, all-time highs into today. So you have kind of that shift. I guess the new, as the Trump comes in, he talked about the U.S. being the Bitcoin capital of the world, right? So that certainly doesn't hurt. Gosh, crazy how back in the day people used to talk about it and didn't think it was going to ever do anything. And you had even people like Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, all those folks. A lot of folks continue to say the same thing. You have Peter Schiff, I mean, the gold bug, and gold's doing great this year. At some point, I've talked about gold as being a store of value. I'm not saying that crypto is going to supplant it, right? People like something you can hold, as Doug Cass used to say. Oh no, it was what's his name? Gosh, he hasn't been on in a while. Oh gosh. I'm having brain farts here this morning, but he used to talk about investing in things that hurt when they dropped them on your foot, right? And he would talk about being Dennis Gartman, that's it. The Gartman letter. He used to be always bearish on the markets, and he'd always be long of gold. And if gold went down, he'd say he was long of gold in yen terms, right? So, I mean, who does long of gold in yen terms? The only time he would do that if gold fell down, because if it fell, he'd be still in the green. All right, rants for other days. But take a look at the market. It's tough the big move from last week, S&P up nearly 5% to draw support resistance lines on the S&P is it's like a moot point, because you want to see where the market finds support. And typically you want to see it find support or resistance multiple times. Drawing one line across for resistance on the first time it hits an area typically is not going to pan out well. So going to wait to get some annotations on the chart. But if we hold 600 or break and hold over 600 SPY, that probably might be a good spot to like a kind of a psychological mental threshold. And then we'll play it out from there. But also take a look at the small caps. And I talked about the U.S. dollar a second ago. You have to think, if that continues to rally, that's going to bode well for small caps. And some people are weighing in, and I've been talking about small caps going on a monster run for a while now. I didn't think it was going to have a monster run in a matter of a couple sessions, but I think if there's more upside, I think it's in the small caps. So we'll see. IWM's over 240 today. Hopefully that can hold. I'm not a big fan of these gaps, but if we have consolidation over multiple days and we hold levels, then we can revisit the gaps longer down the line. All right, so that's overall market. We do have CPI data Wednesday morning. There's still a lot of earnings. Baba, Home Depot, Disney. I'm trying to think of some of the other names. Of course, the one I like is SE, right? Cisco, Sonos. I'm trying to think of some of the other names, but not as much as last. Last week was 1,200 companies. I think this week so nearly 600. But still, there could be some market move, especially Disney. Sometimes that might move markets a little bit when you have components reporting. All right, so that's overall markets. Also, like I said, the bond market's down, closed today, but yields down for a couple days in a row. So that could be a good sign here as well. All right, so now individual names, and you have some of the small caps running this morning. And I put on the watch list. If there's names I'm going to be a little more convicted in adding, it might be the small cap side, because I think there's more upside opportunity there. So you take a look at a name like Lemonade after that downgrade on Thursday, where the stock sold off, gave back some of the previous day's gains. Now it was back in squeeze mode on Friday, closed up nearly over 4%, gapping up again here this morning. I think once it breaks $30, it should have another couple bucks left in it. So don't be, I'm not going to add any more strikes, but I'll be looking to lock obviously the rest of November's, and then look to start scaling out some of the December strikes. But I think it heads into the 30s and beyond in the coming days. And that's Lemonade. Peloton, I kept talking about 892 the last couple sessions. It closed pretty much right near 892 at 890 on Friday, gapped up to 960 in the pre-market. It's kind of giving some of that back. Just want to see it close over $9, and I think the double digits come soon. Still like this one for upside, especially as we head into the holiday season. Fiverr, similar to Lemonade. I mean, had that big move after earnings, got the 32 strikes, locks them in to cover costs with some profits. Been holding on to those ever since, chopping around. And on Friday, it looked like it was going to break out almost up to 32, hit 31.41, gave those games back to close under $30. Still like this one, possibly for a move over 40. So if it shows some strength and I'm able to lock the rest of my Novembers in for more profits, I'll look to roll that out into December. SE reports earnings tomorrow. I've been talking about this one for the last couple of weeks, trying to get a position, but I look at the premiums. It's nearly a 12% implied move. You start looking at the 110 strikes. I mean, the stock closed at 90, was it 93 and change? Let's see. And it's gapping up a little bit here this morning. Closed at 93.56. So you're talking $17 out of money with 5 days till expiration. 110 strikes were a dollar. That's kind of not the risk reward, unless I thought it was going to gap and run over 110. So, I mean, it's certainly a possibility, but you saw what it did last, or at least if you watch what it did last earnings, it didn't move much in the pre-market and then it took off. So that could be a similar setup. So depending if those premiums come down, maybe if they get cut in half on the 110s, maybe I'll look for some spec lotto calls. If not, I'll probably wait till tomorrow, but love this story. I mean, if you don't know already, has 3 segments of growth, 2 which have provided huge growth for them in regards to profits, and then the one which is kind of like the Amazon of Southeast Asia, which has been kind of been subsidized by the other 2 segments, and finally looks like it's turning into a profitable cash generating machine, similar to what happened to Amazon when Amazon. And I hate to use comparisons. That's probably not the best compare. Everybody likes to compare their companies they like to Amazon or to Google or to Microsoft or to Apple. But when you look at that comparison, their online business was subsidized by the cloud. And once the cloud started to really take off, become profitable, Amazon was in a better position to scale out. And then eventually that business became profitable. So similar with SE. But not only that, SE has a huge cash hoard. So that fundamentally sound. I can go on rants for a while, but don't be surprised. I'm probably going to wait till tomorrow. But if it does have great earnings, I think it breaks over 110 and go and continues to take off. Square is another name that I've traded on and off into the spring and summer. Back on the radar. It had earnings last week, which weren't too bad, but stock sold off all the way down under 70, which was under its 250-day moving average. Found support at the 50-day, and then bounced. Almost went red to green on Friday. I think it's on the path to trade over $80 in the coming days. So might look for some spec lotto calls. And then last but not least, still love MU here. It's kind of flat here in the actually it was lower down to 110 in the pre-market, bounce back. It's got to get over 115 or so in the next couple of days. Otherwise, my spec calls will probably not pan out. But definitely a name I'll keep my eyes on. Similar to AMD when I locked my calls in for nice profits, but it continued to go. At some point, this is going to have the forgotten stepchild rally, and it's going to be back over 120, 130, and really take off. At least that's my thoughts. That's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. 14 minutes to the open. Rock and roll.